And here comes the silly name song, so I'm going to mute everybody for a moment. I'm going to be back within a minute.
Okay.
All right, welcome to Friday, guys. Friday is just like any other day nowadays, huh? Every day is the same. Still cool as Friday. I don't know why that's cool. Here we go. Silly name song, or I mean a hello song. Ooh, my daughter's taking that test, so I'm gonna close the door. All right, back. Sadie has to take a test today, so I gotta do it real quick. Here we go. And a one, and a two, and a. Hello, everybody. So nice to see you. Hello, everybody. We're so nice to see you. Hello, to the audience. So nice to see you. Hello, to East Louis. We're so nice to meet you. Hello, to you. And oh, more people are coming in. With that Birdie and Shay. Sorry, guys. Birdie and Shay. Let's see, where was I? Lulu, where's the line to you? Hello, to East of Mala, who I think was Unicorn and a Princess. Somebody to you. Hello, to Sophia. Somebody to you. Hello, to Henry. Somebody to you. Hello, to Elliot. Somebody to you. Hello, to Abby. Somebody to you. Hello, to Granny. Somebody to you. Hello, to Shy. Somebody to you. Hello, to a kitty. That's the one. Somebody to you. Hello, to Barry Boy. Somebody to you. Hello, to oh yeah, how do you say that? Iridessa. Somebody to you. Hello, to Josie. Somebody to you. Hello, to Trudy McGee. Somebody to you. Hello, to Birdie. Somebody to you. Hello, to Shay. Somebody to you. Hello, to Teacher Judy. Somebody to you. Hello, everybody. So glad to see you. Man, I was out of tune. I try to tune before every show in the morning here, but this doesn't stay in tune all the time. All right, I think I got everybody. Hello, welcome everybody. Is anybody else trying to come in? I don't think so. So the plan, as much as I planned for today, was 2 books. And then I was thinking in the middle of the 2 books, after the first book, we could play another song together, hopefully. If everybody has instruments still, I think you probably have them laying around. And I was thinking maybe we could do, what do you call it? Mr. Sun. You know that song, right, guys? I thought maybe we could try that song. I think I remember the chords. Anyway, so get ready for that in a minute. But first, I will go with a story. And I have 2 today, and I like to save the best one for last. I don't know why I do that, but I do like to do that. So this one is the second best. This one is a Thomas book. What? I hardly ever read these because I don't know why exactly, but this is Thomas Gets His Own Branch Line, which is a pretty big deal because he's the kind of train I heard that only works in the yard, not going out into towns or anything, but just moving bigger trains or bigger stuff around, or cars or whatever, to get ready. So there's not like a real engine until this book. So let's see. Thomas Gets His Own Branch Line, and it's illustrated by Tommy Stubbs. Oh my gosh, but it doesn't say who wrote it. It's anonymous, I guess. I don't know who wrote this. Anyway, that's weird. I guess it's because of a TV show. All right, here we go. Ooh, I'm going to need my other glasses. I can tell already. All right, here we go. When Thomas first came to the big station, he was a cheeky little engine with no experience and not very many good manners. He liked to play tricks on the other engines, and sometimes he would rush to finish a job quickly and make a careless mistake. He thought that no engine worked as hard as he did. Thomas had a lot to learn before he could become a really useful engine. They talk about that a lot, a useful engine. I guess he plays around too much. They don't like that. One day, Thomas was shunting coaches in the yard. That means moving different things around to different tracks. But he didn't think pushing coaches around was a very important job. So he decided to play a trick on Gordon instead. And here's Gordon. He's blue also, right? When Gordon came chugging into the yard, Thomas steamed out from behind a tree and overturned a truck full of cement right onto Gordon's wheels. Ooh, cement is kind of liquid when you make it, so it can ooze around, but then it dries hard as a rock. So I don't know, he could get stuck forever, I suppose. Gordon was stuck, and he said, "Now I could not pull the express," he grumbled. Thomas just laughed and laughed. Beep, 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 beep. Ah, very funny. He thinks it's very funny. But the joke did not seem quite so funny when Sir Topham Hatt came marching up with an angry look on his face. This guy, I never really liked this guy. I don't know why. He seems too angry, but he's very upset because Thomas did that trick, but now it's going to make him late with the trains and stuff. "Thomas, where are the coaches?" he demanded. "People all over Sodor will be upset if the express is late. Everyone expects this railway to be really reliable and right on time." Then Sir Topham Hatt hurried off to see if Henry could pull the express. So he's upset because this guy can't pull the main train now, and he's got to go see if someone else can do it. Henry, I guess he asks. "I'm sorry, Gordon," said Thomas. "I thought my trick would be funny," and he quickly went to get the coaches that he was supposed to have lined up earlier. As he raced off, Thomas could hear Gordon still grumbling, "Cheeky little engine," which cheeky, I'm not sure exactly what that means in England, Great Britain. I don't really know. I think it means like mischievous or something. All right, so Thomas worked quickly to get all the coaches. "Hurry, hurry," he pleaded. "The express is going to be late." There he is moving them around. These are the coaches. That's where people ride in it. And Thomas shunted all the coaches into place just as Henry was ready to go, and the express was off just in the nick of time. And there's Henry, number 3, green, right? He looks pretty happy. When all the commotion was over and Gordon was unstuck and cleaned, Thomas got a good talking to. Sir Topham Hatt said, "Really useful engines do not play tricks when they have work to do. Shunting coaches, that means moving coaches around, may not seem important, but it is. If the coaches are not lined up properly, the passengers cannot ride the railway. But I am pleased that you worked hard to correct your mistake and get the express going on time. Really useful engines take their duty seriously, and you have learned that every job is important." After that, Thomas worked very hard. He played only after his work was done, but he wished that he could pull coaches filled with passengers instead of just pushing empty coaches around the yard. So he's a little not super happy about, see, he only gets to be in the train yard, which is like the station, I suppose. And he doesn't get to go out and about and carry stuff around like these guys. One morning, Thomas's wish was granted. Henry was too sick to pull his morning route, and Thomas was the only engine left in the station. Henry, something went wrong. They're doing it like a doctor with a stethoscope. I don't know if he got sick like a cold or something, but anyway, usually they're broken down is why they can't go out. And Sir Topham Hatt comes up to him and he says, "You'll have to pull Henry's train, Thomas. We are counting on you, and no tricks. Yes, sir. Thomas hurried away. He just knew he could do as good as his job as any of the big engines. So he's very excited. He gets to run the train line. Thomas puffed eagerly into the station where the coaches and the passengers were waiting. Calm down, Thomas, said his driver. Really useful engines are patient and they're careful with their work. But Thomas didn't pay him any mind. He quickly backed up to the coaches. Then, without waiting for the all clear sign, he chugged out of the station. But guess what? He didn't get all the way hooked up. So he went to hook up, but then he didn't hook up, and then he left, and then he left all the coaches. He's not pulling anything. Thomas puffed along the line. He was very proud of himself. When he reached the stop signal, he slowed down in a huff. Why should a speedy train like me have to wait for a pesky signal, he thought. Beep, beep, beep. He whistled impatiently. The signalman came running out, and he said, Hello, Thomas. What are you doing out of the yard, he asked. Can't you see? I'm pulling Henry's coaches, peeped Thomas. Well, I don't see any coaches, said the signalman. Thomas's driver looked over his shoulder, and oh no, there were no coaches. Thomas had left them at the station. He's all by himself. Embarrassing. Thomas was so disappointed he almost started crying. Don't worry, Thomas, said the driver. We'll go back and get the coaches straight away. Thomas went back and got the coaches. He waited until the coaches were properly hitched, and soon they were back on schedule. At each station, Thomas was very careful to let all the passengers on and off, and they would come up to him and say, Thank you, Thomas, for the ride. When Thomas got back to the yard that night, he was very tired. He was doing it all day long. Pulling coaches was harder than he thought. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for him, trying not to smile. You did just fine, Thomas, once you remember to get the coaches. More important, you learned something. Really useful engines are patient as well as speedy. The next week, Thomas was pulling the afternoon train. When he came to the first station, he noticed an engine that wasn't on the track. Hello, I'm Thomas, he said. Why aren't you on the track? Pleased to meet you, Thomas. I'm Bertie. I'm not on the track because I'm not a train. I'm a bus. Buses take passengers just like trains, but we drive on the roads instead of on the tracks, Bertie said. Well, a bus can't be as fast as a train, said Thomas cheekily. I bet I can get to the end of the line before you, and he raced off. So he's saying, oh, you're not as fast as me, the bus there. Thomas was trying hard to beat Bertie. So hard to beat Bertie that he forgot to stop at the stations to let the passengers off. Oh, big mistake. If you don't get on your stop, you get really far from home. And they started to get angry. Thomas's driver shouted, Stop, Thomas, stop. But Thomas was going so fast that he could only hear the wind whistling by his ears. He can't even hear this guy yelling, Dude, you're not stopping. Thomas got to the end of the line. I won, he peeped. I knew trains were faster than buses. But Thomas, the driver said angrily, you haven't let any of your passengers off. Oh no, gasped Thomas. How will I get all these people home before dark? Just then, Bertie came driving by. I'll help you, said Bertie. You'll help me? Thomas asked. Even though I was very cheeky, which I guess means not super nice, maybe. I'm not sure what that means. I'll have to look that up. Of course, said Bertie. We all help each other on the island of Sodor. And Thomas and Bertie split up the passengers and took them all home. Oh, he helped them. Once again, Thomas got a talking to from Sir Topham Hatt. Thomas, today you made 2 mistakes. One, when you raced against Bertie, and another, when you forgot to let off your passengers. But in the end, you and Bertie got all the passengers safely home. I hope you have learned that although trains and buses are different, it does not mean that one is better than the other, and things work out when you work together. Thomas was learning new lessons every day, and he really liked his new responsibilities. One day, he was pushing some troublesome trucks in the yard when he saw James going by way too fast. James is the red one there. Help, help, James called. The trucks are pushing me too fast and my brakes are on fire. The troublesome trucks only laughed and called on, faster, faster. So these are troublesome trucks, I guess, and they like to get in trouble. I don't know. They're pushing and he's going downhill and he can't slow down. putting on the brakes, but they're catching on fire because it's skidding on the metal to metal there. Thomas acted quickly. He hitched himself to the breakdown train and hurried down the line after James. When Thomas found James, he had run right off the tracks and was laying in a muddy ditch. Thomas helped to get James and all the trucks back onto the track. "Thank you, Thomas," said James. "You knew just what to do." When Thomas and James got back to the yard, Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for them. "Thomas, I am very proud of you. You were brave, cool-headed, and helpful. You've grown quite a bit from the cheeky little engine you used to be. You've proven that you truly are a really useful engine. Because you have done such a good job, I have decided that you shall have your own branch line." Thomas couldn't believe it. He was so excited. "Beep, beep, 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 beep," he cried happily as he raced around the yard. Now Thomas is proud of all the things he learned. He has 2 faithful coaches of his own. They are named Annie and Clarabelle, and he loves pulling them up and down his very own branch line. Thomas always knew he'd become a really useful engine. Aww. Branch lines are like a line that only goes one way and back the same way, like it doesn't go through to somewhere else. I think that's what that means. And that is the end. Yay! Ooh, I'm running close to being out of time. Okay, I wanted to do another song, hopefully. It shouldn't take too long. I think I'll have time for it. All right, guys, do I want to play a song together, singing in mode? I was thinking Mr. Sun.
I'll do the moves. I got the moves.
What do you call it? Yeah, the moves will be good. And also, yeah, if you don't have an instrument, you can do the hands. All right, here we go. Ooh, what chords were those again?
Okay, here we go.
All right, on 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, you shine down on me. Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, hiding behind a tree. Little children are asking you, please come out so we can take you. Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, you shine down on me, you shine down on me, you shine down on me. We'll try that again. I don't think I got the chords right. Let me try one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, you shine down on me. Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, hiding behind a tree. Ooh. Go down the high. You little children are asking you, please come out so we can play with you. Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down, please shine down, please shine down on me. Ooh.
Yay!
I didn't hear anybody singing, guys. Oh, well, that's fine. We can practice and do it again. All right, that was a little short interlude, huh? Because I'm kind of running out of time. I gotta go a little quicker, I think. I have.
I don't want them to see my picture, Mama.
All right, let's go. I have to do that.
We need my paper that we have on the wall.
All right, second book. What? Brothers, and I see feet, and the name of this book is. Chicken Dance Volume 2. Oh yeah, this is the other one. Oh shoot, I grabbed the wrong one. Anyway, no biggie. This one's called Chicken Dance Volume 2. That means the second book. I was going for the first one. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. Bach and Roll, written by Tammy Sauer, illustrated by Dan Santat. And in this one, you'll see. This was the first one, where they have a contest, what do you call it, talent show, and these 2 ladies win, and then they get to play with this guy, and he's like Chicken Elvis. So anyway, let's see how it goes. All right, so this is after they won the contest, I think. Marge and Lola leaned out of the tour bus window and they said, "We'll miss you," they called. Their barnyard buddies waved, "Good luck on your tour. Write to us. We love you, chickens." And Elvis lowered his shades. "Come on, chicks, let's roll." So they're going on a music show tour, like to play different cities. And there's all the friends, they say bye, and there's Marge and Lola going on the bus. Marge and Lola settled into their seats, and the bus rumbled down the road. The first stop was McDoodle's Barnyard and Peacock Farm. There's their first show. They're playing a barn. Elvis Poultry and the Chicken Dancers took the stage. The lights went down, the curtains went up, and the barnyard went loud. Ah! They're very excited to see this guy famous. People used to be. "Wow," said Marge, "that's a big crowd." Oh, they're getting kind of scared, I could see already. He knows what to do because he's been doing it for a while. They've never done it before, so they're kind of like, "Oh, what do we do?" "Whoa," said Lola, "and we don't know anyone out there." The chickens trembled, and they fanned their wattles, and then they fainted, thunk, like this. Ooh, fell over and just fell asleep. What? Their legs are sticking up. And this Poultry is like, "Whoa, what's going on back there?" "The next gig will be better," said Elvis. "Just chill, chicks." "I know," said Marge. I know," said Marge. "Let's picture the crowd in their underwear." "Tidy whities," Lola nodded. "That should work. But, ... Supposedly, I guess if you get nervous about being in front of people, you're supposed to imagine they're all in their undies. I don't really know what that does for you, but anyway. Oh, here's a, what do you call it? The title, the main story in the newspaper says, "Chicken Dancers Chicken Out." Uh-oh, that means I got scared. But it didn't work. They imagined everybody in undies and they still fainted the second time too. And there's Elvis Poultry looking back like, "What, again?" Lola sighed. "Maybe we should just ease into the next show." "Ease into it?" asked Elvis. "That's a rocking idea." So he thinks that's good. Ease into it. I don't really know how they would do that. "I don't think this is what she had in mind," said Marge. Elvis glided to the stage on a parachute. What? He jumped off the top of the barn, down, and he floated down. I guess that's what he thought ease into it means. And they're still up there, and they're like, "I don't know." And then it says, Elvis glided to the stage, and it said, "And the chickens? Question mark. What did they do?" Total catastrophe. They jumped, I guess, to do that same thing with the parachute, but they hit the windmill. Oof! Ah! Ouch! And they crashed down onto the ground. So they're there looking at the paper the next day, and it says, "Hit the coop, chickens." Oh, it's telling chickens to quit, to not do it anymore because they're no good. Marge and Lola tried new ways to calm their jitters. They did art therapy. They did some paintings. They took a hot bath. They did hypnotism, which is, I don't know if that works or not. They did meditation. They did some knitting or crocheting. I don't know the difference. And they listened to some music that just had the sound of waves. It's hard to see, but that album there says waves. But nothing worked. And Elvis says, "Oh, 10 minutes to go." And Elvis says, "We'll try one more show," said Elvis. "If our flock can't rock, I gotta go solo." So he's giving them one more chance. That night, Marge and Lola felt smaller than chicken feed. "I don't get it," said Lola. "We've got style. We've got rhythm. What are we missing?" Then Marge grinned. "We're missing the most important thing of all," she says. "And the chickens cross the road." What? That's what they're missing? They have to cross the road. You ever heard that joke? Why a chicken cross the road? I don't really know the funny answers to that, but it's like a joke. They knew just what to do. What are they doing? Oh, it looks like one of them is riding with a feather writing a note on a piece of paper on this one's back. I don't know what they're writing. And it's going to go in the mail? We'll see. The next evening, the tour bus rolled into Dale's Dairy Farm. Marge and Lola zipped backstage and peered through the curtains. They're looking out to see who's in the audience. Their feathers drooped. "This doesn't look good," said Lola. "We're going to get mooed off the stage," said Marge. I'm sorry, not Barge. They're worried that everybody's not going to like them. Then the lights went up. I'm sorry, the lights went down. The curtains went up, and the cow crowd went wild. Elvis, Elvis, Elvis. And the chickens trembled, and they fanned their wattles. Uh-oh, are they going to faint again? They look very nervous, right? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. They found their wattles, and then they, ... heard some very familiar voices. I think their friends came. "We love you, chickens!" In the stands were some very familiar faces. They got our letter," whispered Lola. They wrote a letter to their friend. "And we've got the best friends ever," said Marge. The chickens faced the crowd, and they said, "Hey, Dale's Dairy Farm," called Lola. "Let's see your moves." I guess it's like a cow place because dairy is cows. So they are not scared anymore because their friends are there. And everybody got into the mood. They're dancing their cow moves, their cow dance moves. Elvis was so inspired, he came up with a brand new song. Thank you very much. Marge and Lola gave each other a high five. Oh, he came up with a new song. It says "Blue Moon." That's the Elvis song. And I think that's the end. Oh yeah. Ever since then, the chickens were bona fide stars. There was only one thing that Marge and Lola loved more than all the fame. Blue Moon, not Moon. #1 on the Barnyard 100 list of best songs. Oops, I'm sorry. There was one thing they loved more than all their fame, all their being known by people, and that was their fan club, which was all their friends from back at their farm. And that is the end. And they go on tour with them, all their friends. Elvis, Marge and Lola, and their friends are in the back. And that's the end. I'm sorry, that one's not as good as the first one to me. I'll have to find that at school and read that one when Marge and Lola are in a, what do you call it? What do you call that? Oh, I can't think of the word. Talent show. Yeah, they're in a talent show. All right. How much time do we have? 6? Ooh, 5. I got a lot of time. I think I have time for another song. Maybe like maybe some Hot Wheels. And then I'll do the Goodbye song, and because that takes a long time, and I keep getting cut off. Have you noticed that? Except yesterday I made it just barely. I had to go extra fast. But right now I'll do Hot Wheels, and then the Goodbye song. I'm gonna unmute everybody in case someone maybe wants to sing along. Hot Wheels. I don't know if anybody wants to sing that or not, but just in case, here we go.
Franny!
Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hot Wheels, race car. 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 Hot Wheels, race car.
Yeah.
No, I'm candy cane. Looks like a candy cane. It's a candy cane. A little help, Mama.
Yay!
I
That song.
quit. I'm gonna eat the candy. Do it. Bananas. It's so good.
All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you on Monday.
Bye.
I mean, I love you all very much. Bye.
Gator.
Bye.